A multinational corporation with 20,000 employees faces a critical moment. The CEO has just announced a major restructuring. The CEO sends a lengthy, jargon-filled email to all employees. The message is technically correct, but what happens next will shock you. The CEO sends a lengthy, jargon-filled email to all employees. The message is technically correct, but what happens next will shock you. Within minutes, chaos erupts. Rumors spread rapidly on internal chat channels. Anxiety rises, and productivity drops. Managers, who receive the information at the same time as their teams, are overwhelmed with questions they cannot answer. The company's top talent quietly updates their resumes. The communication failed, not because of a misplaced comma, but because the form was fundamentally mismatched to the task. This brings us to a critical concept in business communication. Welcome to Chapter 2, Forms of Business Communication. In Chapter 1, we established that communication is the nervous system of an organization. Now, we move beyond simple channels. This evolution is critical. It's the difference between simply using a telephone and designing a global telecommunications network. A form of business communication is a repeatable configuration of message modality, direction, formality, synchronicity, richness, openness, permanence, and authority used to produce verifiable organizational outcomes. Just as an architect chooses specific materials and structures based on a building's purpose, a leader must choose the right communication form. To make these choices, we must first understand the building blocks. Any communication form can be analyzed along 8 canonical dimensions. These 8 dimensions are modality, directionality, formality, synchronicity, richness, openness, permanence, and authority. Let's explore each one. This framework elevates communication from an intuitive craft into a predictable system. It moves us from sending a message to engineering an outcome. Modality is the physical nature of the message. Is it verbal like a speech, written like a memo, visual like a chart, data numeric like a dashboard, or audio-visual like a video? Each modality carries different information and emotional weight. Modern workplace communication is often multimodal, blending several forms into one experience. Directionality is the flow of information within the hierarchy. It can be downward from CEO to team, upward from team to CEO, horizontal between peers, or networked across departments. The flow of communication reflects the power structure and health of an organization. Formality ranges from formal legal contracts to informal office conversations. Each serves different purposes in organizational communication. Synchronicity determines timing. Synchronous communication happens in real time, while asynchronous allows for reflection and delayed response. Richness measures how much information and types of cues a form can carry, from rich face-to-face interaction to lean data reports. Openness determines the intended audience, public like press releases, internal like staff memos, or confidential like legal briefs. Permanence refers to message lifespan, from ephemeral hallway comments to archival contracts stored for years. Authority measures the power embedded in the message, advisory recommendations, directive instructions, or binding policies. Communication is not an end in itself. It's a tool to achieve something else. To design the right form, we must first clarify the objectives it needs to serve. This hierarchy ensures communication activities are tightly coupled to business value, preventing the trap of being busy with communications that have no meaningful impact. Enterprise-level objectives are firm-wide goals that drive business strategy. Communication enables growth by articulating value propositions, profitability through clear procedures, risk management through proactive communication, innovation through psychological safety, and stakeholder legitimacy through transparency. For example, communication fuels growth by aligning global sales teams on consistent messages and sharing customer insights to drive innovation. Functional objectives are department-specific goals that contribute to enterprise objectives. Marketing generates awareness and conversion. Sales increases pipeline velocity. Operations improves efficiency through clear procedures. HR enhances employee engagement. And finance improves forecast accuracy through clear reporting. Communication objectives are the specific levers we pull to influence functional and enterprise goals. Inform to create shared understanding, align to synchronize priorities, engage to build commitment, persuade to change behaviors, protect to ensure compliance, and learn to generate new knowledge. An engaged employee doesn't just know what to do, they want to do it. This emotional commitment drives discretionary effort and superior performance. Different frameworks help structure these objectives. SMART goals work for well-defined tasks, OKRs for ambitious directional change, and the balanced scorecard ensures communication efforts are balanced across all perspectives. The key is ensuring every communication activity traces back to a measurable business outcome. Rather than forcing all communication into a single taxonomy, it's more useful to classify forms along several design-relevant lenses. This approach provides a richer toolkit for analysis and design, integrating classic and contemporary theories. Modern workplace communication is often multimodal. A webinar combines audio-visual presentation with written chat and downloadable visual slides. Verbal communication excels at nuance and emotion. Written communication provides detail and permanence, while visual communication simplifies complexity and shows trends. Even environmental design communicates. An open-plan office signals collaboration, while corner offices with closed doors communicate hierarchy. The choice between real-time and delayed communication has profound implications. Over-reliance on synchronous forms leads to collaboration overhead and fragmented focus time. A deliberate strategy that defaults to asynchronous forms for deep work while reserving synchronous time for high-value interaction is a hallmark of productive organizations. Media richness theory suggests forms should match message complexity. The continuum runs from face-to-face communication at the richest end to dashboards at the leanest. Using a lean form for a rich task, like breaking bad news via text message, is a frequent cause of communication failure. Equivocal issues that are ambiguous and complex require rich media because resolving ambiguity demands processing multiple cues like tone and facial expression. The Speech Act lens classifies communication by function. Assertives state facts, directives command action, commissives make promises, expressives convey emotions, and declarations change institutional reality. Declarations are particularly powerful. They reshape the formal organization through the very act of speaking. The Channel Task Fit Matrix provides a simple heuristic for choosing the right form based on message complexity and time pressure. Low complexity, high urgency calls for instant messages. High complexity, high urgency requires video meetings. The matrix guides optimal form selection. The essential design rule is to pair rich forms for sense-making with lean forms for traceability. Use meetings to explore and debate, documents to codify outcomes. The boundary between a firm and its environment is a semi-permeable membrane. Managing information flow across it is a key strategic function. While internal and external forms share underlying principles, they differ significantly in governance, risk posture, and stakeholder focus. Internal communication consists of planned and emergent exchanges that enable employees to understand strategy, coordinate work, comply with policies, and build shared culture. Internal communication has 5 core streams. Leadership communication provides strategic narrative. Operational communication enables daily function. People and culture shapes employee experience. Knowledge and learning captures institutional memory. And change and crisis guides through disruption. Each stream serves specific functions, but must integrate seamlessly to create a coherent internal operating system. IC governance uses editorial calendars and style guides, but more importantly, information classification policies and RACI matrices that clarify decision rights. Mature IC functions move beyond output metrics like email open rates to outcome metrics that measure real impact. Strategy comprehension scores, operational defect trends, and employee engagement results. External communication consists of deliberate messages to non-employees, customers, investors, regulators, media, and community to generate demand, build legitimacy, and maintain license to operate. External communication includes integrated marketing communications, public relations, investor relations, public affairs, customer communications, CSR and ESG reporting, and crisis management. A robust external message architecture flows logically from the high-level brand promise to core value pillars, supported by concrete proof points, delivered with specific tone and style, and protected by necessary legal caveats. This architecture provides the blueprint for consistency at scale, ensuring unified brand experience across all touchpoints. External communication carries significant legal and reputational risk. It requires rigorous controls for disclosure accuracy, safe harbor language, and strict spokesperson policies. Cross-boundary integration is critical. During a crisis, employees must learn news first, or at least no later than the market. Talking points must be tightly aligned to prevent damaging inconsistencies. When internal and external messages contradict, it destroys trust and credibility with both audiences. First key takeaway: treat communication forms as designed, governed choices along 8 key dimensions. Moving from reactive messaging to proactive communication design is a critical leadership competency. Second, the design process must start from corporate objective, flow to form choice, and be measured with relevant KPIs. This ensures communication efforts directly tie to business value. Third, match form to task. Use rich forms like face-to-face meetings for ambiguous, sensitive issues requiring sense-making, and lean forms like documents for record-keeping. Fourth, internal and external communications are 2 sides of the same coin. They must be integrated through shared message architecture, but managed with different governance appropriate to their audiences. To apply these concepts, start with your objective, analyze your audience and context, select appropriate dimensions, choose your form, and measure outcomes. Organizations that master this systematic approach see measurable improvements in strategy execution, employee engagement, and stakeholder trust. As you develop these skills, you'll move from intuitive communication to systematic design, from reactive messaging to proactive strategy. The future belongs to leaders who can engineer communication outcomes, not just send messages. You've completed Chapter 2, Forms of Business Communication. In our next chapter, we'll explore how to implement these frameworks in real organizational contexts.